Public health authorities announced early Tuesday morning that the first 2 known deaths have been reported in Korea as a result of Middle East Respiratory Syndrome, or MERS. President Park Geun-hye has sharply criticized the revised National Assembly law, hinting at the use of a presidential veto. And the North Korean military has reportedly killed a crew member of a Chinese fishing boat while clamping down on illegal fishing. Hello and welcome to News Today on KBS World. It's Tuesday, June 2nd. I'm Luke Clary. Public health authorities announced early Tuesday morning that 2 patients have died of MERS, marking the first deaths reported for this viral respiratory disease in Korea.
2 patients of the Middle East Respiratory Syndrome have died 13 days after the disease broke out in Korea. The Ministry of Health and Welfare reported that a woman in her 50s died on Monday while being treated for breathing difficulty caused by asthma at a hospital in Gyeonggi Province. A genetic test confirmed that the woman had MERS. The deceased woman was known to have stayed in the same hospital ward as the patient 0 for 3 days since May 15th. That's when she came in contact with the first MERS patient. She should have been isolated and placed under observation according to the current public health standards. But the hospital claims that they were notified that she should be isolated 6 days later. Another MERS fatality is a 71-year-old man who are being treated in isolation as the 6th patient. The man has stayed in the same wing as the patient 0. He was diagnosed of MERS on May 28th and was being treated after he was transferred to a state-designated hospital. He had suffered from a chronic renal ailment, which probably caused his immune system to weaken and left him vulnerable to the MERS virus. Doctors say that having contracted MERS must have worsened his already fragile condition.
Most of the MERS patients in Korea are medical workers at the hospital where the initial patient was hospitalized, nursing people and patients from other hospital rooms. Here's why so many people have become infected with the virus just because they were in the same space, even though MERS is known for its low infectivity rate.
This is the hospital where the initial MERS patient was hospitalized. It has effectively been shut down because all of its patients have been relocated to other hospitals. The infected patients include patients in other rooms, their family members, and medical workers. Witnesses say the hospital was completely unprepared for the virus at the time. The hospital should have prepared thoroughly because the initial patient infected with the virus was hospitalized in a 2-person room. But at the time, the medical workers were unaware of the infection and continued to treat other patients with their faces, gowns, and stethoscopes contaminated with high densities of the virus from the initial patient's coughing. There is also the possibility that the initial patient spread the virus in the hallways while being transported in his gurney to take X-ray images of his lungs. Health authorities have been tracing the root of the infection in the hospital by analyzing the movements of the initial patient through surveillance camera footage.
President Park Geun-hye has sharply criticized the revised National Assembly law, hinting at the use of a presidential veto. She claimed that government administration would be greatly undermined under the revised law, as the parliament could start regularly interfering with ordinances enacted by government agencies.
President Park Geun-hye expressed her concerns over the new National Assembly law, saying it could paralyze the government's administrative functions if it goes into effect.
정부의 시행령까지 국회가 번번이 수정을 요구하게 되면 정부의 정책 추진은 악영향을 받을 수밖에 없고 결국 그 피해는 고스란히 국민들에게 그리고 우리 경제에 돌아가게 될 것입니다.
She pointed out that even the bills directly affecting people's finances are still pending in Parliament because of the opposition party's ploy to tie in other bills. The opposition party cooperated on the unrelated civil service pension reform bill in exchange for the passage of the possibly unconstitutional National Assembly law, which allows them to make revisions on the special Sewol Ferry investigation law. Once the bill is presented to the presidential office, the president can exercise a veto within 15 days. Tensions between President Park and the parliament are mounting as she made it clear that she would resolve the issue head-on, even suggesting the possibility of vetoing the bill.
The North Korean military has reportedly killed a crew member of a Chinese fishing boat while clamping down on illegal fishing. The incident will likely further deteriorate already strained ties between North Korea and China.
At the start of the blue crab fishing season on April 15th, Chinese fishing boats moved en masse to the waters near the northern limit line in the Yellow Sea, to the northwest of Yeonpyeong Island. The North Korean military sent high-speed patrol boats from the 8th Squadron of its Navy to crack down on illegal fishing in the North Korean waters. The Chinese fishermen responded violently to the crackdown, using deadly weapons. Intelligence sources say one of the Chinese fishermen was shot to death by the North Korean military. China expressed protest over what it perceived to be excessive use of force through its embassy in North Korea. But the North Korean military reportedly said that it was an act of legitimate self-defense during the crackdown on illegal fishing by Chinese fishermen. Sources added that the North Korean military eventually sent the body of the dead fisherman, the remaining crew, and the boat back to China early last month after investigating the matter. The incident will likely further deteriorate relations between North Korea and China, which have already been tense after a series of violent crimes committed recently by an armed North Korean runaway soldier in China.
Korea is experiencing what is probably the worst drought in 40 years. In addition, the early heat wave has dried up water for both farming and drinking, causing unbearable hardship for the affected residents.
6.2 million tons of reservoir water have evaporated, leaving the cracked bottom exposed to the blazing sun.
40년도 넘게라도 농사졌지면은 가문다 그래도 이렇게까지.
Most of the nation is already experiencing severe drought. A number of farmers have given up on their crops. Relief is short-lived even when a field is fortunate enough to be irrigated, and rice seedlings are drying up.
대주는 것보다 마르는 게 더 많기 때문에 마음이야 뭐.
Digging for underground water turns out to be a futile effort.
이거 하루 종일 이거 했는데 물이 안 나. 9개 들어갔는데 빼지도 못하고.
Water pumps and excavators were called in to suck up the last drops of water from the reservoir.
우선 저 바닷물이라도 또 빼갖고 나눠주는 거 최우선입니다 지금.
Drinking water has long been depleted.
그냥 넣어요 물이 이거. 생수 갖고 먹어서 생수 갖고.
An early heat wave and record drought are breaking the hearts of Korean farmers and rural residents.
Tax authorities grant exemplar taxpayers with an array of privileges such as an exemption from tax audits for certain periods of time. But a growing number of so-called exemplar taxpayers have been capitalizing on their privileges to evade taxes, prompting tax authorities to revise the relevant regulations.
Actress Song Hye-kyo was named an exemplary taxpayer in 2009 and exempted from tax audits for 3 years. But it was later revealed that she had evaded over $2.2 million in taxes during the grace period.
어떤 이유로도 이해받기 어려운 저의 잘못이었음을 잘 알고 있습니다.
Tax authorities have uncovered 73 cases of tax evasions during grace periods over the past 5 years. The amount of additional taxes that were levied as a result reached approximately $269 million. To bolster surveillance over so-called exemplary taxpayers, the National Tax Service has revised the relevant regulations. Under the new regulations, exemplary taxpayers will be verified at least once a year and will have their titles revoked if they are caught for tax evasion. Some say that exemplary taxpayers should not be given any grace period in tax audits because they are likely to abuse it. Currently, they are entitled to 14 types of privileges, such as exemptions from loan interest and discounts on healthcare services. Critics are also calling for the strengthening of punishment for exemplary taxpayers who evade taxes during grace periods.
An inter-Korean project has been resumed to excavate the site of a palace from the Goryeo Kingdom in North Korea. The resumption is all the more meaningful as the two Koreas have agreed to restart work amid icy inter-Korean relations.
South and North Korean historians began a joint project in 2007 to excavate Manwoldae Palace of the Goryeo Kingdom. The joint excavation was focused on the western compound, the living space of the royal family. Historians excavated Gwangmyeongjeon, a hall where the portrait of King Taejo Wanggeon was enshrined, as well as the site of a palace. A cylinder-shaped celadon piece was found for the first time. This year, the excavation will focus on the southern 4,000 square meter area to confirm if it is the site believed to have been the bedroom of the king, which is called Manyeongjeon. Once the 6-month excavation ends by November, 50% of the area on which the two Koreas agreed to excavate in the first stage will be dug out. For the excavation, about 80 South Korean experts will visit North Korea in order. Some of them will stay at residences inside the Kaesong Industrial Complex and commute to the excavation site.
9년째 발굴 조사를 계속 해오고 있는데 다 합쳐도 1년이 되지 않아요. 6개월이라는 장기간의 기간이 있어서 좀 충실한 성과가 나올 것으로.
With the resumption of the Manwoldae project, South and North Korean historians will discuss in full swing another joint project to dig out tombs from the ancient Goguryeo Kingdom.
Some movies are based on true stories that are even more dramatic than fictional stories. 3 new Korean movies based on shocking and important incidents that took place in Korea will open this month. We introduce these movies in today's entertainment news. Let's take a look.
너희들이 허비한 그 1초가 전우를 죽음에 이르게 한다는 사실을
Upon provocation from North Korea, a second inter-Korean sea battle took place near the northern limit line in waters off Yeonpyeong Island and the Yellow Sea on June 29, 2002. This movie follows the stories of those who risked their lives to fight and protect their nation on a day when South Korea was overcome with World Cup fever.
은주 어머니세요?
A police detective and a shaman religious figure team up to find a missing child during a 33-day investigation. Park Kyung-taek, director of Friend, produced this new film based on a kidnapping case in Busan which shook the nation in 1978. The movie Minority Opinion depicts a defense counsel who sues the nation seeking compensation of just 10 cents. The legal drama unfolds over a clash to find the truth behind the death of 2 young innocent men at a site of forced demolition. Based on the Yongsan tragedy, the movie finally opens 2 years after its production was completed.
The South Korean military currently employs some 650,000 soldiers. The Special Warfare Command, which is regarded as an elite division, is known for its harsh training, forcing its soldiers to push their limits. Today, we visit the Eagle Brigade of the Special Warfare Command. Soldiers at the Special Warfare Command undergo harsh training, which has earned them the nickname Human Weapons. Today, they gathered at an athletic competition. The first competition is soccer.
강한 의지를 보여주기 위해서 얼굴에 다 페인팅을 칠하고 나왔습니다. 꼭 이길 거라고 생각합니다. 꼭 이길 겁니다.
100 players, 50 in each team, do their best to score a goal. As time goes by, the players begin to engage in fierce scuffles. One of them is eventually ordered off the field. The opponent makes a successful penalty kick to win the game.
응원도 열심히 하고 같이 하나 돼서 단결돼서 이긴 것 같아요.
The next competition is a relay circuit training race. Each of the players must complete 12 kinds of races, such as tightrope walking and push-ups. Each team consists of 10 members. The team whose final member arrives first wins. The winning team's record is 41 minutes, 26 seconds. That's about 4 minutes per player.
한 명이 잘해서 되는 게 아니고 각자 모두가 한 마음으로 잘해서 가능하다고 생각합니다.
This time, it's a trench fight competition. It involves intense physical fighting. The green tape team wins. Next, the brigade's most physically fit members show off their impressive bodies.
호성이가 받았고 일단 빨리 나갈 생각하니까 기분이 좋은 것 같습니다.
The finale of the athletic competition is the game of tug-of-war. After a fierce standoff, one of the teams collapses.
조직을 화합하고 단결시키는 그런 측면에서 이 체육대회가 아주 많은 어떤 보탬을 줬다? 뭐 이렇게 표현하고 싶습니다.
These brave soldiers are strongly committed to protecting the safety and peace of their country, and even seem to have a little fun from time to time. And now let's take a look at the markets, followed by the world weather. And that's it for this edition of News Today. Thanks for being with us, and we'll see you again at the same time tomorrow. Goodbye.